Hello and welcome to the show. Before we begin, apologies for sound quality. It's a rainy day here in Abuja. The rain is really loud and all over the place, and hopefully, not too much of it is going to spill into the background. Apart from that, the kids are having a field day because it's a rainy day and it's a cool day, so they're running all over the house. But I think I'm already 3 or 4 days late with the regular episodes, so I figured let me just go ahead, make this podcast recording. I'll try and muffle the noise as best as I can, and let's keep the show moving along. So, today, what we're going to look at is how not to sell your services on LinkedIn by using the pitch slap technique. Now, what is a pitch slap technique? Pitch, of course, like when you're making a sales pitch, when you're throwing something over to someone, and then slap, that's when you take your hand, you make it nice and flat and broad, and then you whack someone across the face. So, you put those together. A pitch slap gives you a vague idea of what it is that we're trying to describe. So a pitch slap is what happens on LinkedIn particularly, where people send you a connection request. Now, I don't know why it happens on LinkedIn the most, because technically you can do this on any social media, where you have to send someone a connection request, a friend request, a follow request, a whatever request. But it seems to happen a lot on LinkedIn. And I've been getting quite a few since I've been putting out my name into the interwebs and asking people to follow. So I've been getting a lot of pitch slaps. So the pitch slap is what happens when someone sends you a connection request, which seems okay. You accept the request because it's a reasonable thing to do if it looks like you guys might vibe or get along, or if you're someone like me who's trying to grow his area, his sphere of personal or business influence. Then the person who sends the connection request starts a casual conversation and they try to pretend that they are interested in you or what you're about. Then they make a switch and go straight into a direct sales pitch. That's the part where they tell you, buy now. I have the solution to your problem. Subscribe for this. Buy that. Book a meeting. Let's have a discovery call. Do this. Blah, blah, blah. They're making direct asks of you that involve time, that involve money, or involve effort. And that is what is called the pitch slap nowadays. You start off the conversation, you look like you're interested. Before somebody, just as people are letting their guard down, the person now hits you with the buy now. Buy now, 50% off, subscribe to this, get a free ebook, get a free this, get a free that, book a meeting, do this, do that. They want you to spend time, they want you to spend money, they want you to spend effort with them. Unfortunately, these people don't realize that this is premature, because it's okay to make a request for someone. I mean, after all, our businesses are not going to move forward if at some point we don't tell someone, I have the solution to your problems, and by all means, buy if you can afford. So, of course, we should be making a sales pitch at some point, but this pitch slap thing is a bad idea, and lots of people seem to be doing it nowadays. So that's the reason why I'm making this podcast episode. I'm hoping to dissuade you, gentle listener, listening to the show, that this is a bad idea. And just in case somebody has told you that this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, it's working, and this is how to promote your business, this is not a good idea. Will it work? Yes. Everything works. So this is bound to get an occasional buy every now and then, but it's not a good idea. Now, why is this a bad idea? Because all this indirect action leaves a sour taste in people's mouth. It leads to loss of trust, and it increases sales resistance. Now, what is sales resistance? Especially those of you who are newbies. For those of you who've been listening to the show right from the inception since 2020, and who have listened to most of the 650 episodes that we have over here as of today, you're familiar with the idea of sales resistance from the man, the godfather himself, Mr. Tom Hopkins, an American sales trainer, although in the real estate space. Please do not tune off if you don't happen to be in the real estate space, because sales principles are universal. It's about finding out how it applies to your own unique and peculiar circumstance, your own the business that you're trying to grow, the product or service that you sell. So, sales resistance is this. Sales resistance is the normal apprehension, is the normal skepticism that most people have in a selling environment. So it's just normal. You step into the market, You want to buy a goosey? Well, okay, let me make it personal. I step into the market. I want to buy a goosey. My wife has sent me to buy a goosey so that we can make some food for the kids. So I'm going there because I have a problem. I want the solution. I want the egusi. But I don't want people shouting at me, hey, brother, customer, come here. This one is cheap. Customer, long time. How about this? How about that? I don't like that harassment. That is what is called sales resistance. And it's not just peculiar to me, but billions of people world over feel that as well. They have a need, but they have apprehension when they get into a sales environment. So, a woman steps into the mall. She's in the cosmetic section. She thinks she has a fair idea of what it is that she wants. And she's looking at some items there. But the moment a salesperson, properly manicured and with the uniform, walks up to her and says, oh, good afternoon, ma'am. Can I help you? She says, oh, no, it's okay. I'm just looking. But the thing is, she is not just looking. She's there because she thinks my powder has finished, my what else? My foundation is finished, my skincare products are finished. I actually need to replace them. And she has a couple of questions. So she's not just looking, she wants to buy. But this is called sales resistance. The apprehension is normal, the skepticism is normal, the leave me alone feeling is normal. Everybody goes through it. Well, not everybody, most people have it in the sales environment. Part of it is also the reluctance to make a bad purchasing decision. Nobody wants to buy the wrong thing. So that's also one reason why people just lock up when it looks like someone is trying to make them buy something. They're trying to avoid buying something that they regret later on, and then they say, oh, it was the sales girl that made me buy it. It was the sales guy that forced me into this. So this whole thing of pitch slapping is increasing the level of sales resistance. People who come to LinkedIn are already in that mind frame of, don't sell me anything. I'm just here to network. I'm here to learn about this. I'm here to catch up on this. I'm here to catch up on that. Please don't sell me anything. They're already in that mind frame. For you to pull this move, it really jacks up the level of sales resistance. So, if we are trying to sell something, and if we're trying to move the business forward, we actually should be avoiding sales practices that make our job more difficult. The pitch slap is making your job a whole lot more difficult. It's making it worse and making it harder to sell in the future. If you pitch slap me or you pitch slap someone and you make a sale, that's cool, no problem. You made some profit. But the problem is you're going to want to sell something else in the future. And now the person knows your MO. They know how you move. You see a message from Tavishima like, Tavishima, that guy. I know him. He's an irritant. They'll ignore your message. They won't engage because the last time they engaged, you pitch slapped them and you ended up making a purchase and, sorry, the other way around. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, you get the picture. The person is going to start avoiding you because you pitch slapped them. So what should you do instead? For those of you who are going around pitch slapping, you should be using LinkedIn to build your network base, working base. Anyway, you get the whole picture. We should be engaging in relationship building and we should be putting people in nurturing sequences. Let me repeat that. For LinkedIn, it's not pitch slapping. It's number one, build the network. Number two, relationship building. Number three, nurturing sequences. Just in case you didn't get that again, let me repeat it for those of you pitch slappers. Use LinkedIn to number one, build your network. Number two, relationship building. Number three, put people in nurturing sequences. How do you engage in relationship building on LinkedIn? We've already said enough about networking in previous podcast episodes. If this is your first time listening, you want some more material on that, after you're done listening to this, use the search function within this podcasting app. You will see the older episodes where I spoke about networking. You should be looking for networking, professionalism, and business communication. At the time, I had a series of talks that was created for people in the wedding planning industry. That was when my friend Laura of Posh and Pristine wedding planning. Yeah, so the people, new wedding planners under her, that was part of the tutoring that I ran for them. So professionalism, business communications, and networking. You'll learn some more there. Okay, where are we? Okay, I think. Oh yes, the proper thing to do on LinkedIn. So we're supposed to be building a networking base. We're supposed to build relationships and then put people in nurturing sequences. So So excuse me. My cold is not quite over yet. So how do we engage in relationship building on LinkedIn? This is the painstaking, and yes, it's painstaking because you have to do it frequently. It doesn't have to be every day. You follow people. That's good. Just like the person who sends the connection request. The next thing is you now comment on the posts that they put. You debate on their posts. You send messages around personal and professional milestones. Stuff like that. The typical thing that you're expected to do on LinkedIn. Follow someone and then comment. Oh, I noticed that you put this and this and this up. I agree. Then the debating part, or I disagree, or have you considered blah 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 blah. You're engaging the person in the conversation. People to know you, and in typical LinkedIn fashion, they'll notice that, oh, this guy that has come to comment on my post, or this lady, you click on it, you have a look at their profile, like, oh, okay, she's into this, he's into this, okay, all right, no wahala, and then the debate continues. And then, of course, once in a while, you send messages around personal and professional milestones. You know, that whole thing of so and so has been promoted, so and so is now the executive director, or so and so has now passed their CFA exams level 2. Those are the kind of updates that people put on in. And so you send a message. Congratulations. I noticed that you've been promoted, more power to you, more of God's blessing in your life, blah, 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 whatever it is that you want to say. Or, oh, congratulations, it's your birthday. Congratulations, you've been with Cornerstone Insurance for the last 10 years. More career progress, blah, blah, blah. All those things. Now, if you're doing all this, following people, commenting on their stuff, debating, disagreeing, whatever, and then sending them messages around their birthdays, the promotions, the exams passed, and everything, because people do put up all those things on LinkedIn, eventually the opportunity is going to come up for you to make a sales pitch organically. And the person might be expecting it now because over the several instances where you've been liking, commenting, congratulating, sending personal messages, stuff like that, they would have checked your profile every now and then, and it'll become obvious. Now, oh, yes, Kunle is an architect. So they wouldn't be surprised when you, Architect Kunle, is now making a pitch that, okay, you're now the ED, you are building an office in this part of Lagos or this part of Abuja. Can I come in and present some plans about how my firm can help you guys build a, sustainable building or build a cost-effective building? I mean, whatever your value prop is as an architect, that's the power you get to make the sales pitch. So it's organic. It's kind of expected that you should be making a sales pitch. They now know who you are. Akunle is that architect who is always on our timeline. So it'll come up organically. And now the thing is, even if it doesn't come up organically, people would have been warmed up to you so that once you make your sales pitch because you want to sell the eggs from your poultry or whatever, let's say your who is the let's say he's manager at a place where they produce poultry, chicken, eggs. What can I come up with? Okay, let's say they produce soap, and to produce the soap, they need calcium, and a good source of calcium is in chicken eggs, and you want to make that pitch. Now, if you've been engaging and building relationships, excuse me, just like I said on LinkedIn, even though it doesn't come up organically, at least they're going to be warmed up to you when you make that pitch that, hey, I know that you guys need calcium as a byproduct. Do you know chicken eggs are a source of good calcium? Can I come into the office and let's have a discussion? Let's see if we can help supply calcium for you guys to help make your soap. Now, for those of you who make soap, I don't know if calcium is needed to make soap. I'm just freestyling here, so forgive me if I've said something false. I know that for soap you need palm oil and a couple of other stuff. I don't know if calcium is in the mix. I'm just making stuff up. So it's not going to be too much of a surprise when that happens, not in an happens in an inorganic way. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. Then, now to nurturing sequences. How do you put people in a nurturing sequence? The whole idea of a nurturing sequence is this. You're in touch with someone. You guys kind of have a relationship going. You're not quite sure what to do with them. There might be a possible buyer. There might not be a possible buyer. You don't know how to move the relationship forward. Nurturing sequence. The idea behind this is you just keep sending them material routinely that you think they will be interested in and stuff that is relevant to their industry or relevant to their personal interests. So you're not quite sure what to do, but you notice that the person has passed level 2 CFA. You send the congratulations. Oh, congratulations on level 2. One more, now you're going to be a chartered financial analyst. You guys have that chat about how being a CFA is going to help their consulting practice or blah, 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 blah. All that small talk, and you leave it at that. From this point on, whenever you see useful material on how to pass CFA or how CFA can help your career or CFA alumni in Lagos or Abuja or something like that, you send it to them because it is relevant to their personal interests, their goals. And it's going to be stuff that they will find useful and they will welcome you into their inbox. And then you make an impression on them. That's the idea behind nurturing sequences. You kind of have an idea of where it is that they're going. Send them stuff that they need. If you're doing relationship building, you're doing nurturing sequences on LinkedIn, you'll be fine. You won't get to make your pitch every day or every week. But when you do make a pitch, you stand the chance that you're going to be making an effective pitch instead of this whole pitch slapping thing that people do. Send a connection request today. The person accepts. Tomorrow you say, oh, how are you? How are the children? The person says, oh, my kids are fine. And they think you want to enter into personal conversation. And then the day after, you're saying, buy my stuff 50% off. I mean, the average person is like, you just asked me about my kids yesterday. Now you're saying buy 50% off. Like, from where to where? Like, where did all that come from? So, expand your network, relationship building, and then putting people in nurturing sequences. Of course, you already know the relationship, or rather the difference now between relationship building and nurturing sequences. It's just the direction, basically. So relationship building, you're responding to stuff that they, and then nurturing sequences, you are the one who's taking the initiative to throw stuff over to them. So, but either way, whether you take the direction from them or the lead is from you, it's not a problem. So, the summary of what it is that I'm saying today is LinkedIn is a bad place to make the sale immediately. If you want to sell right now, you want to make the sale right now, LinkedIn is the worst place to do that. People have come to LinkedIn for different things, trying to get the sale immediately. LinkedIn is not a good place for that. Instagram is a better place for that because people are in that, happy commercial mind frame. So if your pimple popper skincare thing pops up, yeah, they are in the mind frame to click and say, oh, how much? And then they send you a DM and then you get to make some business. Or anyway, you get the picture. If you want to do, if you're looking for immediate sales, LinkedIn, sorry, not LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the wrongest place to be. Maybe try Instagram, depending on what it is that you have. Now, a case in point, a fellow sent me a connection request. The fellow is into link building, SEO, guest blogging, analytics, blah, blah, blah. Now, you guys know what I feel about all this multiple, heaping, plenty, buzzwords, everything. The problem is somebody looks at your profile, they have absolutely no idea what it is that you do because you just put on everything, AI, link building, guest blogging, blah, 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 crypto, Anyway, so stop it, please. Narrow it down to a few things so that at least people remember, so that even if they're engaging with you, if you are the chicken person, let it be clear that you're the chicken eggs person, so that when someone needs chicken eggs, they know who to call or whose profile to check or who they're looking for in their DMs. Okay, so he found interest in chatting with me about industry trends and AI, because those of us in the consulting space, everybody's talking about AI. So we exchanged WhatsApp phone numbers, and then he started asking me about my website and YouTube. He then claimed that he can increase my income by 4x if he creates a website for me and a YouTube channel. Let me repeat in case you didn't get it. Started off small chat and talking about industry trends and AI, like like how we consulting people do. Next thing, he switches sharply to website and YouTube, and I can increase your income by 4 times if I create a website for you and a YouTube channel. You can see that there's a disconnect between the conversation that we started and where we are right now. It's a huge switch. Another thing is, he didn't ask me about my current income sources. He didn't ask me about what I'm trying to optimize or what could be optimized. He didn't ask if I'm happy with my current income levels. He didn't run a diagnostic on my current YouTube channel to see if there's anything wrong with it. He didn't even ask questions about what my YouTube strategy is, or have a look at my YouTube content to see if there was any problem with the content. Since he hasn't done any of this background work, it's obvious that him saying that he will quadruple my income, take my income 4x, is something that he just made up on the spot. he doesn't even know if I'm making any money from my YouTube. The answer is, by the way, I'm not making any money from my YouTube because I've not tried to use it deliberately to make income from it. So what exactly would he be 4xing when there's no income to begin with? When you're trying to beat your chest and throw around numbers like this, I'll 4x this, I'll 10x this, I'll 20x, you are not inspiring confidence in prospects when you start making up numbers. If you at least ask all these questions and you see that somebody's making 100K a month from the YouTube channel and from expertise, you think, I can take that 100K, we can get you into the 250 range. You've asked enough questions to at least seem like you know what you're doing. It sounds plausible. But instead, you go about approaching everybody saying, I can 4x your income. How? You have to run some diagnostics first. You need to ask some questions first. Then he offered up his services for $10 per video. If you had looked at the stuff I put out, you would have seen that I have an almost daily cadence of content. So that's going to be $200 to $300 per month. The Nigerian equivalent is going to be about 233,000 naira. And of course, in Nigerian terms, that is expensive. So I'm going to be spending 233,000 naira on the videos that I'm putting up on YouTube because I'm getting how much in return. Anyway, so he made a sales pitch without qualification and without discovery. For those of you who are old-time listeners of the show, you know what that means. For those of you who are newbies, let me rephrase. He made a proposal and he didn't bother to figure out, does this guy have a need for my services? That's the question you should be asking before you start pitching people on your YouTube website services. Is this guy the right guy to authorize the expenses within the business? You need to find out that kind of information because he could have been having this chat with me, and for all he knows, I could have been the secretary. And if you're just chatting with the secretary, it doesn't matter how long this conversation is, the secretary cannot authorize any expense. If you're talking to this kind of thing, you're trying to sell this kind of thing, you're better off talking to the Oga, the person who owns the business, or the person who can write the check. What? He was just going ahead making a sales pitch to the first person that he met. You also should be trying to figure out, is this a problem worth solving for this other person? You should have been trying to figure out that, do I think I have a problem with my YouTube and do I think it's worth solving? You should have been trying to figure out if we both had reasonable expectations around money or budget, because it's possible that this 230,000 naira that the fellow is charging, it's possible that that's industry going rate. But the thing is, I don't know that, and so for me, I think it's an unreasonable expense. And if I think that's unreasonable, there is nothing he can do to move me forward. But if at least I had the right expectations, there will be room. Maybe we might start negotiating, and I'll say, you know what, 230K, yeah, I get, all seems fair. But you know what, guy, I'm broke right now. Just take 180 and let's start. You know, as the future goes, we'll add it, we'll increase it. You know how we like to talk in this part of the world. So he didn't ask questions around that. And then he also didn't figure out if this guy, which is me, was ready to make a decision on the problem anytime soon. All these things essentially is what qualification and discovery is about. Who am I talking to? Do they have a need for my products or services? Do they think they have a problem that is worth solving? Do they have realistic expectations around money? Is this the guy that is even going to transfer the deposit anyway? Or am I wasting time talking to a secretary or an underling? These are the kind of questions you should be asking. Qualification and discovery, these questions are important because there's no point engaging in the conversation if any of these things are missing. Like take the urgency thing. What's the point of engaging in a conversation with a person if the person is going to take action next year? There's no point. You're just wasting your time. Or if the person is only engaging in conversation just to be polite, like initially I was, because I was just trying to be polite. Anyway, let me not flog a dead horse. How do things end up? This is how things ended. I used a mobile video app for free that is called Leap Video to do everything that I wanted to do with my YouTube content, which was basically to take the audio messages, or rather the audio content from this podcast, and I put a static image on it. A videographer friend of mine gave me the recommendation, and that is how I solved my YouTube problem. So clearly, you can see why all of these questions are important. Yes, I was the right person to talk to, but I don't think I have a significant problem because all I just needed was a static image on top some audio so I can upload. And there was no way, even if I had the money, even if I was a billionaire, there's no way I'd pay anybody 230,000 naira to fix a static image on audio and then upload to my YouTube. I just wouldn't do that. But of course, this fellow did not know, because he's pitch slapping and he's not trying to, he doesn't have a sales framework that will help him diagnose who is this person, does the person want my service, is there a need, and how can I align both of the interests. So, what does all this show? It shows that the pitch slap technique is a waste of time, especially if you don't have a sales process. So you need a sales process. Or even if you don't, stop pitch slapping. You know how to use LinkedIn right now. Build your network, build relationships, put people in nurture sequences. So that's all for today, folks. If you like what you hear on the podcast and you'd like daily access to me to ask me questions related to how you sell in your business, the WhatsApp Coaching Club is now open. The investment required is only 5,000 Naira monthly. That's Nigerian Naira. Oh yeah, I already said that. 5,000 Naira monthly. You can get to ask me anything business related, of course. If you want to ask me questions on philosophy, we'll have to engage off the group, or economics, or whatever. So you ask the questions, I'll give you answers, and I'll give you assignments to move your business forward. If you're interested, then hit me up on social media DMs, or you can send a message saying that you're interested to 080-6466-2140. The country code for Nigeria is +234. Remember, you can subscribe for free. You don't pay anything for this podcast, so don't reach out to me saying you want to negotiate the 5K for the WhatsApp Coaching Club. This podcast is free. Just stick listening to the podcast. We have over 650 episodes. You can learn a lot with all the free material that I've already put out there. So subscribe for free. The show is Sales for the Nigerian Business Person podcast. I'm available on the big three: Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple iTunes, or any podcast player of your choice. Then connect with me on LinkedIn or your social media of choice. My name is Tavishima Ayede. The name, the spelling of my name, my email address, profile photo, it's all on the website where you're currently listening to this episode, or the profile of the podcast app where you're listening to my voice right now. You get the details there. So, final thing. If you're considering starting a business and you'd rather save towards capital instead of getting bank loans, then I'm now affiliated with a reputable and recognized financial institution, and they have over 504 billion in assets under management as at 2023. Now, this financial institution, that shall not be named for now, is in the business of guaranteeing your savings. So message me on 080-6466-2140 for details. And of course, this is only open to Nigerians only, because this institution only is in Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire, although they have affiliates in other regions. But anyway, Nigerians only. Hit me up if you want to save towards starting your business instead of looking for bank loans. So thank you very much for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys at the next episode.